I thought I was there for a job, but the moment Ms.Willow Grant's silk robe brushed against me and her eyes locked with mine, I knew I'd stepped into something deeper, darker, and far more dangerous. She didn't just want my resume, she wanted my surrender, and I gave it to her, night after night, for everything I never dared to dream. Please don't forget to subscribe and comment. And one request, please always keep a smile on your face. I never thought my life would take such a sharp turn. I was just a girl from the dusty edges of town, a place where opportunity never knocked and dreams were things you whispered about but never dared chase. My mother worked herself sick, cleaning houses and doing laundry for the wealthier families in the city, while I took care of my two younger siblings. My father had walked out on us years ago, and since then, it had been just the three of us, barely getting by. Every night I stayed up late scanning job listings, praying someone, somewhere, would give me a chance. One morning, my prayers were finally answered. I received a call from a big corporate office downtown, Everell and Sloan Enterprises. I had applied months ago and forgotten all about it. They wanted to meet me the very next day for an interview. My heart pounded so loudly in my chest, I thought the walls might shake. I didn't own any formal clothes, so I borrowed a plain white shirt and a black skirt from our neighbor, Mrs. Halston, who had always been kind to us. The next morning, I took the earliest bus, my hands trembling the entire way. The building was tall and sleek, glass glinting in the sun like a monument to another world. I stepped into the lobby, my cheap shoes clicking softly against the polished marble floor. A woman at the reception desk looked up and gave me a half-smile, handing me a clipboard. "Fill this out and wait. Ms. Grant will be with you shortly." Ms. Grant. The name sounded sharp, powerful. And when she finally came into the room, she embodied every bit of that energy. She was striking tall, with raven black hair pulled into a perfect bun, eyes like steel, and lips painted a deep wine red. Her presence filled the space like perfume, both intoxicating and overwhelming. "You must be Ember Sinclair," she said, extending a hand with perfectly manicured nails. "Come with me." I followed her through the glass doors into her office, heart thudding wildly. Everything in the room was white and silver, pristine, intimidating. She didn't speak much at first, just handed me a piece of paper and a pen. "Sign this," she said coolly. "It's just a formality." I hesitated. "What is it exactly?" She tilted her head. "Standard non-disclosure agreement. It's required before we proceed. Company policy. I needed this job. For my mother. For my siblings. So I signed." She studied me for a long moment. "You're very composed. Most applicants are nervous." "I am nervous," I admitted. "But I'm determined." Her smile was the kind that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Good. Determination is useful." Then she turned her monitor toward me. I expected spreadsheets, maybe a list of job roles, but what I saw made my breath hitch. It was a video of me sitting in the lobby. The camera had been angled so discreetly I hadn't noticed. And then the screen flickered to another video, one that felt far more intimate. There was no sound, but the images were suggestive, sensual. It wasn't me in this one, but someone who looked like me, caught in a scene that made my cheeks flush. "You don't understand yet," Ms. Grant said softly, leaning forward, her voice like velvet. "But you will. Come to my home tonight. We'll discuss your future in private." I didn't know what to say. Everything inside me screamed to run, but then I remembered the look in my little brother's eyes when I told him I might have found work. I remembered my mother coughing late at night when she thought we were all asleep. So I nodded. That evening, I found myself in front of her brownstone townhouse in the upscale district. I rang the bell, and the door opened immediately. Miss Grant wore a silk robe, barely tied at the waist. Her skin was flawless, her lips parted in a quiet smile. "Come in, Ember." The living room was dimly lit, scented candles casting soft shadows. She handed me a glass of wine. "Relax. Let's talk." We talked, but not just about the job. She asked about my past, my fears, my hopes. And then her questions got more personal. "Have you ever loved someone you shouldn't? Have you ever wanted something you were afraid to touch?" I didn't know how to answer. I was too lost in the haze of her presence, the way she leaned in when she spoke, the way her fingers brushed against mine as she handed me the glass. Then, without asking, she stood and moved closer. Her hand touched my cheek. "I think you could be brilliant here, Ember. But I don't want just a worker. I want someone who understands intimacy, loyalty, chemistry." She leaned in. I didn't stop her. Our lips met, soft at first, exploring, then deeper, fiercer. I had never kissed a woman before, but nothing about this felt foreign. Her touch was fire and silk, and I melted under it. That night, I stayed. She showed me what it meant to surrender. But it wasn't just about pleasure, it was about trust. She tested me, teased me, studied me. And in the quiet hours of the early morning, she whispered, "You'll never want to leave." She was right. Days turned into weeks. I worked at the company by day, handling private clients, managing high-level schedules. But by night, I was hers. She dressed me in the finest lingerie, took me to hidden parties where everyone wore masks and names were never used. I learned to walk in heels that cost more than my old apartment's rent. I learned to use my gaze like a weapon. I became someone new, someone desired. And all the while, my family received anonymous envelopes filled with money. My mother never asked where it came from. She just held me tight every time I visited and whispered, "Thank you." Still, part of me wondered, was I selling myself? Or had I finally found someone who saw all of me? Ms. Grant was demanding, yes, but she was also vulnerable in rare moments. She cried once, late at night, holding me as if I might disappear. She said she had never let anyone in the way she let me in. I think I loved her. But love wasn't simple. One day, I overheard a meeting I wasn't supposed to. A male voice, someone higher up, talking about selecting the next girl. My blood turned cold. Was I just one in a line of many? That night, I confronted her. Was I chosen? Were there others? She didn't deny it. But she stepped closer, her eyes wide. "I choose a lot of things, Ember. But I never felt for any of them. You're different. I didn't expect you to touch me the way you did." And maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe not. But I had made peace with my choices. I had helped my family. I had found a piece of myself I never knew existed. And even if it all ended tomorrow, I would never forget the way her breath felt against my neck, the way her hands knew exactly where to touch, the way I went from a desperate girl to a woman who commanded a room. This wasn't the life I imagined, but it was mine now, and I was never going back. Please press the bell icon for more interesting